Hey everyone, Corey from CJ's Classic Truck here. Today we're going to be showing you what to look out for when buying a classic Bronco. The first generation of the Ford Bronco started in 1966 but carried its way on to 1977. This was a pretty big deal at the time because there wasn't a lot of multi-purpose vehicles. The only two that you had besides the Bronco was the Jeep and the Scout. Ford stepped up by bringing in the Bronco in the space. It was a short wheelbase design that you were still able to run errands in, but also still have some fun on the weekends and go off-roading. The Bronco quickly became popular during its debut, but it's still very popular in today's time. These were basically the first SUVs to really ever hit the market, and they were so simple that anybody could work on them. It doesn't matter if you have a lot of experience with vehicles or very little. With that being said, you should be able to take your classic Bronco to any shop with a knowledgeable and trustworthy mechanic. But that's enough for that. Let's dive into this Bronco here to show you what to look out for. These first generation Broncos came in 3 different body styles. You had your open body roadster, your 2-door wagon, and your half cab pickup. Now, even though they came in 3 different styles, they all basically shared the same features and options. One thing that is very common with them is they're all bare bones and super basic. The engineers at Ford would literally raid the parts boxes trying to find as many pre-existing parts to build one of these Ford Broncos. So not only were they built at a very low cost and basic, but people were buying these to use. So they were getting driven in all types of terrain and weather environments, which was causing dirt, debris to get trapped in places it really shouldn't have been. So let's go over some of the spots that rust can commonly occur. Rust repair can end up ruining your entire budget. So some of the spots you really want to look for is at the bottom of this rocker here, and like all Fords, check the bottom of the doors. And most importantly, don't forget about the frame rails. In addition to those areas, make sure you look over the entire Bronco because rust can end up hiding anywhere. We've talked about how people like to off-road these old Broncos, so if you're looking for one to restore to original condition, then you're probably going to want one that's uncut. Uncut is a big word in the Bronco world, and it basically means that the factory fenders are uncut. So for example, on this one that we have here today, we ended up cutting out the original fenders to be able to put on these flares to accommodate a bigger size tire. As far as the drivetrain goes in these classic Broncos, it's pretty simple. Earlier models came with a 6-cylinder and a 3-speed transmission, and then later on you were able to get a V8 with an auto or a manual transmission. Now, both of these are still great options, just depending on what you want to end up using it for. But keep in mind, if you're not a fan of either of those options, these old Broncos are actually very simple to end up swapping a modern V8 into with very little modifications actually. Ford made very reliable engines. As long as you took care of them, they took care of you. Identify which motor is in the Bronco that you're looking at, then check over fluids, make sure they look healthy, and most importantly, make sure that they're full. After you're done looking at them, have the owner go ahead and start it up and make sure the engine's running healthy. If everything's going well up to this point, it's time for the test drive. Now keep in mind, if you're about to drive an all-original Bronco down the road, it's probably going to handle and drive a lot different than what you're used to. So like I was telling you guys before, these things really aren't the best to drive compared to a lot of modern vehicles. The steering's kind of all over the place, the brakes aren't the greatest, and once you get up to speed, it's a little sketchy. With all this being said though, while you're out having fun enjoying driving a Bronco around town, make sure everything feels right. Make sure your steering's not too loose, make sure the brakes are stopping you when they're supposed to be, and make sure your engine's nice and healthy. Make sure you're taking this time to listen for any unusual noises in the suspension or even in the drivetrain. Hopefully this gets you one step closer to owning your own classic Bronco, but before diving into one, it's always good to do a little bit more research yourself. It's time to drop a gear and disappear. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, check out cjponyparts.com for all your classic truck part needs.